I want to thank you all for being here today and extend a special welcome to any visitors and guests. After the service, please consider staying online for a virtual coffee hour and join us in conversation. We also hope that you will sign the guest book on the UUFA website. As many of you know, the UUFA Board of Directors voted to close the fellowship building indefinitely. We continue to monitor the recommendations of the UUA and the community health experts regarding conditions that guide the decision to open the building safely. A regathering task force meets quite regularly to discuss the plan and develop one that outlines how we will return to the building when it is safe to come together in person again. We are committed to providing a safe environment for all who call our fellowship home. While it's hard to be apart for so long, it's good to remember that even though the building is closed, the fellowship remains open. Please read the weekly email and check the UUFA website for a complete schedule of various ways we can be connected throughout the week. So on behalf of this caring, nurturing congregation, I welcome each and every one of you to this virtual and sacred space. Here we invite you into an experience of transformation, hope, renewal, and connection, which may inspire you to understand life in new ways. Thank you for being here.
We begin our service with the ringing of the chime. First, to wake the chime. The second, to open our minds. The third, to open our hearts.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem, for the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
The church is not a place, it is a people. The church is the gathering together of all the people and experiences. For the church is us, each and every one of us, together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it.
In the world of the driven, let us be drawn in. Let your love be a given, let us be drawn in. To imagine, to dream, to create, to redeem, for the sake of the living, let us be drawn in.
Our opening song this morning is Come, Come, Whoever You Are, number 188, sung by Jess Hudeman, Chelsea Sardonia, and Morayo Akande. Please join in as you are willing and able this morning, and welcome. It appears we're having some technical difficulties. So we will move forward to our
Excuse me,
offertory.
I must not have been sharing audio. I will fix that now.
Okay.
Is that okay? Are you getting audio now if I do this?
Yes, Dan.
Our offertory recipient today, this month actually, was chosen by our high school youth, and it is the Citizens Climate Lobby. This is a nonprofit organization focused on national policies to address climate change. Their climate education approach centers around values of relationship, integrity, and personal power, and is designed to create a broad, sustainable foundation for climate action. You can learn more about this at the website listed on your screen. And thank you for your generosity and support of this organization, and as well as our UUFA. We appreciate it. Our time for all ages today is a story about community titled Strictly No Elephants. We are all part of many communities, our school, our neighborhoods, our UUFA group. Maybe you're in Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts or 4-H or maybe a sports team. These are all communities. Sometimes we have something we like so much that we might want to form our own community and share it with someone else. This is what happens to Elephant and his friend. Let's watch and see how they form their own community.
Strictly no elephants. The trouble with having a tiny elephant for a pet is that you never quite fit in. No one else has an elephant. Every day I take my elephant for a walk. His is a very thoughtful sort of walk. He doesn't like the cracks in the sidewalk much. I always go back and help him over. That's what friends do, lift each other over the cracks. Today I'm walking my tiny elephant to number 17. It's Pet Club Day and everyone will be there. Come along, there's a good boy. I coax him the last few feet. It'll be fine. When I look up, there's a sign on the door. Strictly no elephants. My tiny elephant leads me back to the sidewalk, never minding the cracks. That's what friends do, brave the scary things for you. Did you try to go to the pet club meeting too? The girl asks. Yes, I say, but they don't allow elephants. The sign didn't mention skunks, the girl says, but they don't want us to play with them either. They don't know any better, I tell her. He doesn't stink, the girl adds. No, he doesn't, I agree. What if we start our own club? long, I say, making certain that my tiny elephant follows me. Because that's what friends do, never leave anyone behind. We can play here, one of our new friends says. All of us. So we paint our own sign. All are welcome. My tiny elephant will give you directions if you need them. Because that's what friends do.
My name is Matthew Jason Fisher, and today's opening words are from Community Means Strength by Starhawk. We are all longing to go home, to a place we have never been, to some place we have never been, a half remembered, a half envisioned. We can only catch a glimpse of from time to time. Community. Somewhere there are people whom we can speak with passion without having the words catch in our throats. Somewhere a circle of hands will open to receive us. Eyes will light up as we enter. Voices will celebrate us whenever we come into our new own power. Community means strength. That joins our strength to do what's done. Arms to hold when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, some place where we can.
Now is the time in our service where we take a moment to share moments of joy, of sorrow, or appreciation, the milestones in our lives. If you'd like to share a milestone, please unmute your microphone and introduce yourself. And then when you're finished, say thank you for listening so that others know that you're done and we don't talk over you. This is our time of sharing.
This is Mary Richards, and I wanted to share with you that one of our life members, Lotus Miller, has been tested positive for COVID-19 in her home at Heartwood House and has been admitted to the hospital for treatment. I can't tell you much more than that, except I do know that they have a service at Heartwood House so that you can send her emails, and if you want to do that, you can contact Jamie. Thank you, I'm done.
Hello, my name is Karen Gerber. Someone who attended here is now deceased. Two names are connected with this person. One is Taj Live, and before that, Tia Live. You may have met at a Sunday service or family nights. They are survived by their 12-year-old son, Thomas. There will be a Zoom memorial of life on Tuesday evening. I ask you for your prayers and support for their son, Thomas. Thank you for listening.
Yes, this is Lynn Van Valen, and I would like to light a candle today for Jess Severe. Jess has come to our fellowship in the past, and she was Jess Higgins when she came. Some of you might remember her that way. She's in the hospital with tested positive for COVID, and her mom and her boyfriend are still quarantined in her apartment, but she's in the hospital. So please keep Jess in your thoughts. Thank you. I'm done.
Hi, this is Jane Ruddles, and I wanted to share a joy, as many of you were talking about COVID-19. A joy for me this week, and actually the past couple of weeks, is the clinic where I work at Mercy One in Ankeny. We are giving the COVID vaccinations to people 65 and over, and I cannot tell you how much joy it brings me, and often joy, a little bit of pain possibly for the people I give the shot to, but mostly great joy that they're able to get the COVID vaccination. And it's just brought me a lot of joy, and I wanted to share that it's out there and people are getting it, and it will soon be coming to a place near you, I'm sure. So thank you for listening.
Hi, this is Matt Harr-Ferris in Oklahoma City with my partner Stesha, and I just wanted to give an update. I shared before about going to seminary to be a UU pastor, and I got into Iliff School of Theology, and I found out this week that I was given a full tuition scholarship. So that means that a great big weight has been lifted from my shoulders. So I just wanted to share that additional excitement from our end. And thank you so much for listening.
This is Bob Anders. I just returned yesterday from a 2-day stay at the hospital here in Ames. It was not a COVID-related incident. I had a systemic infection pop up in my body. I was well taken care of, and I'm back home, and I think I'm about 85 to 90% back to normal. Thank you.
We hold these milestones in our hearts, those spoken as well as those left unsaid. Let's take a moment of silent meditation. It is good to be together. Here we have some special music from Leah Morris, as well as Tom Nichols, Layla Sequoia, and Dan Chadburn, Side by Side.
When I hear your voice, I almost cry. And when you laugh, it makes me sigh. When I read your words, I wonder why we're together now, more than ever now.
And though distant you may seem to be, you really aren't so far from me. I can feel you here right where I am. If you close your eyes, maybe you can.
Sing to me now, sing me a song, the one where the mountains and the sky come crumbling down, and still we stand side by side. When I see your face, oh, how you shine, a precious light, a star divine.
How your beauty just reflects back mine. Hold out your heart like a lifeline.
Sing to me now, sing me a song, the one where the mountains and the sky come crumbling down, and still we stand side by side. I say to you now, I sing you a song, the one where the mountains and the sky come crumbling down, and still we stand side by side. Side by side.
Good morning. I'm Melissa Neeson, and I will be reading I Want to Be with People by Dana E. Worsnop. Often people say that they love coming to a place with so many like-minded people. I know just what they are getting at, and I know that they aren't getting it quite right. I don't want to be with a bunch of people who think just like me. I want to be in a beloved community where I don't have to think like everyone else to be loved, to be eligible for salvation. I want to be with people who value compassion, justice, love, and truth, though they have different thoughts and opinions about all sorts of things. I want to be with independent-minded people of good heart. I want to be with people who have many names and no name at all for God. I want to be with people who see me in my goodness and dignity, who also see my failings and foibles, and who still love me. I want to be with people who feel their interconnection with all existence and let it guide their footfalls upon the earth. I want to be with people who see life as a paradox and don't always rush to resolve it. I want to be with people who are willing to walk the tight rope that is life and who will hold my hand as I walk mine. I want to be with people who let church call them into a different way of being in the world. I want to be with people who support, encourage, and even challenge each other to higher and more ethical living. I want to be with people who inspire one another to follow the call of the Spirit. I want to be with people who covenant to be honest, engaged, and kind, who strive to keep their promises and hold me to the promises I make. I want to be with people who give of themselves, who share their hearts and minds and gifts. I want to be with people who know that human community is often warm and generous, sometimes challenging, and almost always a grand adventure. In short, I want to be with people like you.
Good morning. I am Jane Runnels, and I welcome you to our service today, and I'm grateful that you've joined us on this snowy, beautiful morning. I'll be sharing this morning's reflection with you. So you can see from the picture on here, this is Bailey. Bailey is my grand dog, and he stayed at our house for a few days last weekend. Bailey, it turns out, has many lessons to teach everyone at our house about beloved community. The next slide is a slide of our two dogs, Snickers and Sadie. They learned a few things last weekend about building community. And as it turns out, they all helped me learn about how it doesn't take a whole lot more than a happy smile, a wagging tail, and a willingness to make new friends to expand our community. Because although both my two dogs were not too excited that their territory was being invaded, and they wanted to make it clear I was their mommy, once they started to slowly get used to the idea of each other sharing the same space and dog food, they realized they were more alike than they knew. And it was actually kind of fun to just hang out together with some new friends. I think we might all be able to appreciate this same idea of joining a new community, meeting new people, and fitting in. This has certainly happened for me in the years since I started coming to the UUFA. It was scary, but also exciting at first. But the kindness and caring people of this community were so very welcoming that it wasn't long before I felt very comfortable, like I belonged here. This has become another home and another family for me, and for that I am so grateful. This congregation has been welcoming people who have come through its doors for 75 years as of this year. That's a long time. Of course, we started small, but over time we've grown and expanded. You'll get to hear a lot more about this in the months ahead. The 75th anniversary planning team has been meeting and making plans for a whole month-long celebration of us this October. Whether in person or via Zoom, we will celebrate our wonderful heritage, and we look forward to creating our future together. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from three of our current members, Jamie Gerganis, Dan Haug, and Jaden Fuqua. They will share what this beloved UUFA community has meant to them and their families. And we'll begin with Dan Haug.
Good morning. I'm Dan Haug. I'm on the Sunday Services Committee. So before I share my story, I want to say that one of the unexpected blessings of meeting remotely is that we've been able to make a lot of use of video, and that's allowed us to share even more faces and voices of wonderful people who are Black, queer, Asian, disabled, surviving poverty, and using they, them pronouns. The last few weeks, we've also enjoyed mixing up our regular group of readers with more volunteers from outside the committee. I encourage you to email the Sunday Services Committee if you'd like to be part of the service or if there's someone whose voice you'd like for us to feature. And if you've been coming for a while and are enjoying the services but are struggling to make a connection, I want to confess that I too find coffee hour awkward and would encourage you to join a Soul Matters or another small group discussion that can help break the ice. Or when the pandemic is over, let's resume at-home potluck dinners, canoe trips, and ski trips. These are the kinds of memorable experiences that help me deepen my relationships with members of this beloved community. I grew up in this fellowship. My parents sought out the UUFA because they believed it takes a village to raise a child. This congregation became my village. Here I made friends of all ages, from Aaron Myers, 2 years younger, to Charlotte Bruner, some 60 years older. My babysitters and role models included UUs like Josh Huntington and Emily Peck. I first met my wife Maya when we were both babysitting for the church auction. When I say I grew up in this fellowship, I also mean I grew as a person. Beloved community can challenge us to be our best selves. When I was a young child, I was a militant atheist and gave considerable grief to classmates and babysitters who felt differently. who believe differently. But with the help of RE teachers like Bennett Sherman, I learned to be gentle. Oh, sorry. I never found God, but through the help of RE teachers like Bennett Sherman, I learned to be gentle with others and to find beauty and meaning in the teachings and prayers and rituals of other faith traditions. The Franzens helped me get over my fear of dogs and my fear of cheese. As my coming-of-age mentor, Fritz challenged me to articulate my humanist values. Roger and Krista, my AYS teachers, challenged me to take a serious, responsible, and inclusive look at human sexuality. My youth group challenged me to be an ally for my LGBT friends. As an adult, Kent services are challenging me to confront my white privilege. I hope that we can make this fellowship a beloved community for you and for others who have not yet found us, because it has certainly been a beloved community for me. It is such a joy to be able to return to and give back to this community as an adult. Now we'll hear from Jamie Gerganis.
Okay, hello everybody. So, sorry. Okay, hi. So my name is Jamie Gerganis, and my parents instilled in me from a very young age the sense of spiritual community. We grew up Jewish, and my parents were very active members of our local synagogue. And my dad was in charge of the entire building, and my mom was one of the women who was in charge of the kitchen. So I spent countless hours helping both of them. So it's no surprise what I do at the fellowship here. So it is how I found this beloved community and what I consider my family and my network that I wanted to share with you today. So when I was in grad school, my major professor and I were actually having a conversation about this very topic of belonging. And he and I were talking about what was I planning on doing once Clay and I got married, since I was raised Jewish and he was not, and I wasn't comfortable going to a Christian church and stuff. So he told me about his good friend, pilot friend, Dirk Skulton, who went to the Unitarian Fellowship here. And I had never heard of that before. So I looked into it, and soon after that, I was in my office at the Dean of Students office, and Suzanne Zilber, a very pregnant Suzanne Zilber, who was pregnant with Charlotte, came in the office, and we started talking, and she told me how she came to the Unitarian Fellowship. And then soon after that, another grad student was telling me how she was planning on going to the Unitarian Fellowship that weekend. So I tagged along with her. So one thing that kept bringing me back to the fellowship was not the people just on Sunday mornings, but it was the people who talked to me outside of the building. So, as a person who's blind, people can walk past me out in public, and I might not know that you've done that, but that wasn't the case for people like Lynn Fawcett and Susan Franzen, who always came up and said hi to me when they saw me, usually in the grocery store. And then one day I was walking down Main Street, and I heard my name being yelled, and a man was running across the street just to say hi to me. And it was Roger Jacobson, who happens to be Matthew's grandfather. So, those instances like that made me realize that this fellowship was really a very welcoming and accepting place, because I didn't receive that from the other places that Clay and I had visited. So the time in my life that really kind of made me realize that this was my network of support and my family community was after the birth of Alex and Brennan. As many of you may remember, the boys were born 3 months premature, and they both weighed a little over a pound and a half each. And my friend Shirley Rawson, who was taking me grocery shopping at the time, she was a former member here, and she helped organize all the volunteer people who wanted to drive me and Clay to go visit the babies, usually 3 to 4 times a week, so that we could visit them and hold them. And so that was, and this was not just UU people, this was a community of volunteers, from Cyride bus drivers to people from my office and Clay's office, and people from other church communities that wanted to offer to give us rides to Des Moines. So, when Brennan died when he was 6 weeks old, this fellowship really came through in the most unforgettable way for me and my family. We've had a beautiful memorial service with over 200 people packed in the fellowship hall, followed by a soup lunch for everyone in attendance. And I never felt more cared for by a group of people. And the support didn't stop after that, because Alex, after the rides kept coming, because Alex wasn't discharged until like 2.5 months later, and he weighed a whole 4 pounds when I brought him home. And like Dan said, it does take a village sometimes to raise a child, and Alex was definitely one that needed a couple villages to raise. He was, I believe, one of the most energetic and active children that this fellowship ever experienced, but it's hard to imagine that he's become such the calm and brilliant young man that he is today. So my willingness to do what I do for this fellowship does not make up for everything I have been given by it over the years. And it was a blessing for me to find them. So I hope everyone else can feel the same about this place. So now we will hear from Jaden.
Hi, I'm Jaden Fuqua. I'm 17 years old, and I'm one of the youth representatives on the board for our youth group. When I was about 6 months old, we moved to Ames, and my mom started looking for a church. She grew up in a religious community, so it was important for her to have my sister and I grow up in one too. Our first attempt was unsuccessful. It seemed like a place that was a bit judgmental and unwelcoming to everyone, so she realized that she wanted a place that preached inclusion and acceptance. After some church shopping, she found the UU, which checked all the right boxes for us. And a major approach my parents took raising us was to not push their beliefs onto us. And it was really important that we find our meaning ourselves. And this aligned so perfectly with the UU method. So I think that she knew that we could make a home here and be an active part of the community. When I was almost out of middle school, I became jealous of the direction that religious groups got with help from their faith. And once joining the youth group, I felt like I had that guidance around my values and beliefs with a community, so I wasn't stuck and overwhelmed trying to figure out all the life stuff. The youth group means so much to me because it facilitates the tough, important conversations and has helped me navigate my perception of the world and my place in it and how we can make a difference. Even when I was in elementary school, RE didn't treat us like kids who couldn't think for ourselves. So, being treated like an equal is what really creates a sense of belonging for me. My mom would call the UU a church for all religions, which I think the idea she was trying to convey to me as a child was that here, we accept people despite our ideological differences and join together as a community through our shared beliefs and values. Our identities weren't separating us, but bonding us together through, conversation. I've really integrated UUism into my identity, which I think is from the connection that I've developed with the congregation over my life. So I'm really appreciative of all that the UU is and all the people in it that create this beloved community.
I want to thank all of you, Dan, Jamie, and Jaden, for sharing. During our breakout rooms, when we have time after the service, maybe we can share with each other something the UUFA has meant to you. Or if you're visiting today, something you've enjoyed about the services you've been attending. Each and every one of you is an important and valued part of this UUFA community, and we thank you for being a part of it. Our closing song is called Building a New Way, and it is sung by the UU Society of Grafton and Upton. Please join in the song as you are willing and able.
We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We can feed our every need. Every need. We can feed our every need. Every need. We can feed our every need. Start with love, that is the seed. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Without these, our world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. A new way, a new way, a new
The church is not simply a building, a steeple, a pew. The church is the gathering together of all the people, all the experiences, and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts, gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache and pick up love and hope. For the church is us, each and every one of us together, a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. Go in peace, go in love, and have a good last week of February. And I want to thank everyone who has helped to make this service possible. Angie Poole, Sam Wormley, Barbie Vinson, Matthew Jacobson Fisher, Melissa Neeson, Jaden Fuqua, Dan Haug, Jamie Gerganis, and Bradley and Jamila. and of course to all of you who joined us on this beautiful snowy morning.